The following program does not offer personal medical advice. Please consult your doctor before using any treatment or product we cover. Welcome to Go to Health Media with your host, Jonathan Marks. We provide a welcoming environment where experts educate you on important health topics, answer your questions, and provide information from which you can benefit in consultation with your doctor. You can visit and subscribe to the show at gotohealthmedia.com. And now, here is Jonathan Marks.
Good day, everybody. How are you? This is Jonathan Marks from Go to Health. Remember, you can watch our show on YouTube, you can listen to us on podcast, and you can also watch us on our website at gotohealthmedia.com. You can subscribe to our channel on any of those media, and that way you won't miss any of our shows. And I wanted to say that we have a somewhat different but very meaningful show today. I do a lot of networking, and a woman I recently met runs an amazing organization that I just wanted to share with you. Survivors of human trafficking often escape captivity only to face new barriers, poverty, lack of education, and limited job opportunities. Without a clear path forward, many remain vulnerable to further exploitation. The organization we're going to be talking about today is called Made for Freedom and the Made for Freedom Foundation, and I'll give you that URL in just a bit. But at Made for Freedom, they believe that education and dignified employment are the keys to lasting freedom. They provide educational scholarships where survivors can pursue higher education, vocational training, and life-changing skills. They also provide dignified employment. Survivors create beautifully handcrafted products, earning fair wages in safe, empowering workplaces. And every purchase and every donation directly supports these programs, helping survivors break the cycle of exploitation. Before I introduce our guest, you can go to madeforfreedom.com. That's madeforfreedom.com. I want to introduce to you Dawn Manske. She is the CEO and founder of Made for Freedom, a groundbreaking social enterprise dedicated to fighting human trafficking through dignified employment. She is also the executive director of the Made for Freedom Foundation, which provides education and resources to help survivors build brighter futures. What started with a simple pair of pants, apparently, and a heart for justice has grown into a movement empowering survivors with meaningful work, restoring hope, and redefining what it means to shop with purpose. And you can shop these wonderful products made by survivors at madeforfreedom.com. So I encourage you to go there and support them. So welcome to the show, Dawn Manske. How are you today?
I am doing well. Thank you so much for having me.
Good. This is such an inspiring organization. What inspired you to start Made for Freedom, and how did you come to see the connection between dignified employment and fighting human trafficking? What's that connection for us?
You know, it was several things that kind of came together kind of around my marriage. It was interesting. I received a wedding gift from my soon-to-be husband, this pair of sandals that represented social enterprise and how to really use business to help people in difficult situations. So that was really cool. I had been learning for years about human trafficking, and I desperately wanted to do something. And then I had this business model that was really inspiring. And then I also had these really fun pants that I got from a friend who came to my wedding, and they were actually Thai fisherman pants. And of course, the next day, what was I wearing when I left for my honeymoon? I was wearing my new pants and my new sandals, and I started getting compliments from everyone, like literally TSA agent. Where'd you get your pants?
Wow.
Flight attendant. I love your pants. So that was the beginning of 6 months of women just coming out of the woodwork going, oh my goodness, I love these pants. I had a woman chase me through a parking lot to ask me about these pants. And I was like, okay, there's something going on. I love these pants. But I guess the other people would like these pants as well. So I started thinking, what if these pants could be the foundation of a business that could help people coming out of this horrible situation.
Yeah.
And that was kind of where the wheels started spinning. And ultimately, I feel like God dropped this opportunity in my lap and said, do this. And so that was about 12 years ago.
Good for you.
And it has been quite an adventure since then.
That's so wonderful. And people can go to your website at Made for Freedom, and we'll talk about more about that. But they can go to the website and they can actually buy products that have been made by survivors that you're in touch with.
Yes. So, yes, that was 12 years ago. And since then, I have visited almost all of the centers that we partner with. And what I found during a research trip was that there are so many organizations around the world working with survivors of sex trafficking and working with those who are incredibly vulnerable to exploitation
Hmm.
and teaching them how to make items. So they so they can work with survivors or they can work with those who are vulnerable and they can bring them in and teach them the skills to make these products. And then they are provided with dignified employment. And dignified employment changes the trajectory of their lives. And that's what I saw in that business model, social enterprise, like
Hmm.
providing a job for those who are in extreme poverty, for those who are living in vulnerable situations. It helps prevent exploitation, but it also helps with survivors, allowing them not to be vulnerable again.
That's wonderful. And when you talked about centers, what kind of centers are you talking about that you connect with?
So I did a research trip shortly after the concept, and I visited five, maybe eight different centers, specifically what we would maybe call safe houses. And they're doing outreach, they're going into the red light districts, they're connecting, they're building relationships with those who are working in red light districts and saying, hey, there are other options in life. There are other things that you could do. You don't have to be selling yourself like this. And so they would work with those. And some of them are more along the lines of the rescue. And so girls are rescued, brought into a safe house, and then they start with life skills. They start with just some basic services like counseling and therapy and legal services. So you provide all those essential emergency trauma informed needs, and then you can go into life skills. So, for example, I visited one center with this group of women. We went over, and all of us were just doing a research trip, a 2-week research trip around India. And we visited this safe house, and there were about 90 young girls, and they were all between the ages of 15 and 18.
Wow.
All of these girls had been trafficked.
Mm.
So about a third of them, so we were in India. We were in the poorest region in India, and about a third of the girls came from there. So extreme poverty is one of the things that leads to exploitation. A third of them were from Bangladesh, and a third were from Nepal. Both of those countries, devaluation of the girl child, and in India, all three of those, devaluation of the girl child is a huge vulnerability. So we had about 90 girls in this group, and we were there just to celebrate an Indian holiday and just to bring a little joy, a little light to this group. And I remember I was up in the front of the room and I was in charge of teaching a very important song, head, shoulders, knees, and toes, because we didn't speak the same language. But I thought these are some easy English words that they can learn.
Yes.
And as I was teaching the song, there was a young lady in the back, and she just kind of curled up in the corner and she didn't participate. Everyone else was laughing and having fun, and we asked later the people, the organizer, the directors, what the situation was with this young lady, and she had been trafficked she'd been taken from her family and sold to a brothel.
Mm.
And she was rescued, and they got in touch with her family, and they said, we found your daughter, she's safe. And the family did not want her back
Wow.
because she was now dirty or she was stained. And this young girl, I see, um, so this maybe 15, 16-year-old girl just found out her family doesn't want her.
Mm,
She's gone through this horrendous situation. What is she going to do with the rest of her life?
yeah,
And that's what she was dealing with as I was teaching a song in the front of the classroom, and that story, just that girl, still sticks with me, obviously.
I can see.
But providing a space. So when this is a huge answer, I'm sorry, this is a
No, it's
huge
great.
answer to
This is
your
wonderful.
question. What are centers? Like when I say center, it is such an all-encompassing, wonderful space that provides counseling. It provides what these young ladies need. It provides training. So many of the people that we partner with that make our products were taken out of middle school
Mhm.
and they were sold to brothels by either through deception, fraud, coercion, whatever. But they didn't even get to finish school. So providing them with life skills, providing them with something and saying, hey, here's how you make this pair of earrings, or here's how you sew this t-shirt, any of those things, that means they can sit down, they can learn a skill that's not incredibly difficult. They're surrounded by people who understand what they have been through, and they are provided with a good wage, a safe place, a place where they can start the healing process. And that's when I say center, these are the partners that we have around the world that are providing all of these services, dignified employment, and that's where we buy our products. So I'm incredibly passionate about our products because our products, the more we sell, the more jobs they create, the more space they have to do the amazing work that they're doing.
I told you folks that Dawn was going to be amazing, and I can tell, I hope you can see how amazing she really is. It's such an incredible story. You mentioned India, Dawn. What other countries have you been to, or where else do you partner?
Let me see. I did that first trip to India. We still partner with one or two of those centers. So for example, our t-shirts come from red light so there's a center. One of our partners is a center built on the edge of a red light district. Just one red
Hmm.
light district in Kolkata, or in English we would say Calcutta. Um, in Calcutta called Sonagachi, and that red light district has over 11,000 women being prostituted out.
Wow.
This center works with ladies coming out of that red light district, teaches them how to read and write, teaches them how to sew, and gives them a job. So that's one of our centers. That was one that I visited the very first trip I went on. But since
Yes.
then, I have been to Thailand, Nepal, so northern China, southern China, India, multiple centers, and we have a couple that we're getting ready to partner with. We have two or three centers that are working with marginalized people groups in the United States, and then like Syrian refugees in Turkey.
Mm.
Very small group that just got started, but they are providing amazing services for these people who would be incredibly vulnerable to exploitation. I very much split it into two different groups that we help, and it's those who are vulnerable and those who have been exploited, vulnerable to exploitation and those who have been exploited. So survivors is what I call these people, and marginalized is what I call here. But both desperately need services and need to be employed to prevent exploitation again.
That was just amazing, Dawn. And even more amazing, I understand that your Made for Freedom Foundation has recently launched educational scholarships. So why you've talked about that a little bit, but why is education such a critical part of breaking the cycle of exploitation, and what impact have you seen so far from these scholarships?
Thank you for mentioning it. I love that we have figured this out. So, having the for profit Made for Freedom built on commerce, using commerce for good, generating sales, providing jobs should be economically sustainable. But if you look at education, which is so desperately needed, it costs money to educate. We've had Made for Freedom Foundation for a while, and we've done some raising awareness, we've done some other things, but then our board finally came together and they said, you know what, we need to do education. Let's do scholarships. And we all were super excited about it. So we reached out to our partner centers and said, if your artisans would be interested in furthering their education, here's the application.
Wow.
And we got about 25 applicants for our first round. So 2024 was our first time actually going out and doing that. And the funding that we get actually we get donations, but we also have partnered very closely. So obviously, Made for Freedom and Made for Freedom Foundation are very closely tied. One is
Yes.
providing jobs, one is providing furthering education or further training. And anytime someone purchases with Made for Freedom, they are given an opportunity to also donate to the scholarships. And so this, as we are making sales, we're able to build that scholarship fund and through donations and doing events with the nonprofit. So we're generating revenue and creating jobs over here. And that also contributes to scholarships over here that can go back and help the artisans with these groups. But there were a couple applicants that were requesting a little more than we could give. So we gave them part of what they were asking,
Hmm.
but we were able to fund 100% of the applications.
Wow.
And I was so excited. And in the process of interviewing and contacting the references, so all of the applicants come from, right now we only have these available to our partner centers because we already have this relationship. We already know them and we trust them. I know that if it comes through one of our partner centers, that it is actually someone who has survived exploitation or someone who is very vulnerable. And they have to have a certain amount of time there, and they have to have, we're looking for certain criteria to be filled for us to give them money. But in following up with the references for the initial applicants, I was able to set appointments with the directors of our partner centers and some of the ladies who also are survivors who are working, but they have been at that center for a while and they have gained leadership skills and management skills. And so now they are bosses and they are directors in these
Mm.
centers. And they were able to tell us a little bit about their stories. And so many, like I said earlier, so many of the young ladies at these centers were pulled out of school, like in middle school. And so we're not looking like 4-year college degrees. We're looking at certificates and training in English or in photography or accounting. Like all these women have different skill sets and different talents. And the centers are doing an amazing job of trying to help them pursue those talents and skills.
So let's talk a little bit about purchasing. Many people want to help survivors, but they may not realize the power of ethical purchasing. Can you share a story of how dignified employment through Made for Freedom has transformed somebody's life?
There are a couple different things that people think when they think ethical purchasing. So a lot of people hear about Made for Freedom and they're like, oh, it's like Tom's. I'm just going to use that as an example.
Yes.
There are a lot of give back brands. And that's where I kick into education. And I say, okay, let's talk about the business model. So you can, in a Tom's example or a give back, buy one, give one, you are taking a product from here and you're selling it to the consumer and you're giving back some money to someone over here.
Right.
Okay. I bought a scarf. I love pink and I like scarves. So I bought this pink scarf. This scarf cost a little bit more than I would normally spend. But what they said was the proceeds from this scarf are going to research to fight breast cancer.
Hmm.
Do I want to see breast cancer end? Absolutely. I love pink. I love scarves. Buy the scarf. And then this was about the same time as the Rana Plaza factory collapse. An apparel factory in Bangladesh killed thousands of people because it was such poor working conditions. They were getting paid almost nothing, working ridiculous hours in horrible situations. And so this kind of rocked the fashion world and led to a whole movement called Fashion Revolution.
Hmm.
But around that same time was when I bought this scarf. And then I had to order the scarf. I had to wait for the scarf. And while I was waiting, I read a little bit of fine print. And the fine print said 0.05%
Mm.
from this sale will go to this research. So what they said was, here's a scarf, but did they say where they made it? No. We're going to give you the scarf. You get to pay this. What did they pay for it? They're not going to tell me. Did they pay poverty wages? Did they go to a sweatshop and pay poverty wages, pay 5 cents for this scarf, charge me 40, and then give 0.05% to research? All they talked about was this is going to help end breast cancer. So that the give back model can be very deceptive. It can be a whole lot of whitewashing. That's not what we do. So when people say, oh, you're just like this give back model, I say, no, wait a second. No, let's go back to the supply chain. This is about supply chain. When you take someone who is living in extreme poverty or devaluation of the girl child or lack of support from friends and family or has all of these difficult marginalized situations, they need a job. And providing a job, if they make the product, then it's providing employment for them. So it's already baked in as impact that is changing lives. It's not pay someone a poverty wage over here, sell it for big bucks, give a little bit of money back over here.
Hmm.
Because this right here, when you're purchasing those things or whatever from a sweatshop or a factory that's paying poverty wages, you are actually part of creating the problem. You're
Yes.
actually part of poverty, leading people, making people vulnerable to exploitation.
So let's talk about transparency of Made for Freedom. So
Mm.
I'm sure that's important to donors. How do you ensure that donations to the scholarship fund and purchases from Made for Freedom directly benefit survivors? How do you tell your purchasers about that so that they feel good about the donation or the purchase they're making?
Well, our foundation website, from our first round of scholarships, we have videos of some of the survivors that actually received them, just showing the appreciation that they have and explaining what they were able to study, like the courses they were able to take, and how they're able to use that in their jobs now, and how they're hoping to maybe use that in the future. So, and like I said, those are only the only scholarships that we're giving at this point are with our partners or with groups that I am very familiar with and I completely trust.
Hmm.
As far as Made for Freedom, as far as our products, I have visited almost all of them. And we have very good relationships with these centers. And what I have seen and what I know of them is amazing. I know them and I trust them. We go through a pretty thorough vetting process before we start partnering with anyone. We have
Hmm.
questions that we ask them. We want to know what wages they're paying. We want to know how many people are there, what kind of service, because it's not just about a job, it's about services as well. Are you providing other training, other education in addition to having them work? Because that's what we're about is providing those services and the job, like providing training and jobs really helps propel people into the future with a good foundation.
Great. And now on your website at madeforfreedom.com, there's a partnership button at the top. Tell us about the partnership that people can have. And for those of you who are listening who want to make a difference, what are some simple yet powerful ways that they can support survivors through education and employment? Tell us about this partnership.
That is probably the question I get. People are looking for something. Okay, I want to do something right now. And the easiest thing to do with that is to just go purchase something. And I'm going to tell you about a couple of my favorite pieces, if that's okay,
Please do.
because because I love our products, and some of our products have these incredible stories, statement stories. So this is our bestseller, and I love this necklace. You can see it; it's a nice long necklace. It hangs about 32 inches, 32-inch chain, stainless steel. It has it's engraved on three sides. It says, "Seek justice, love mercy, walk humbly."
Hmm.
And this is a powerful statement. I have people that come back to me who have had this necklace for years and they're like, I wear this all the time. It's my
Hmm.
go-to necklace. So not only are they powerful statements that I want to see true in this world,
Yes.
But when people comment on it, I get to tell them this was made by survivors of sex trafficking. And then I get to share their story. And so our customers actually become the advocates as well.
Wonderful.
But then I will also tell you about these. So I'm wearing these earrings. These are called Restoring Justice earrings. And so
Uh-huh.
this is just an example of some of the really cool stories that go with us. So one of the young ladies that came into one of our centers said that while she was being trafficked, she kept hoping time would pass and justice would be restored.
Hmm.
They came up with this design, and it's called Restoring Justice, and it's Roman numerals 1 through 11, which represent a clock and the passing of time.
Oh, nice.
So they took her story and they made it into a piece of beautiful jewelry. So you know the story that goes along with it. You can share that with other people. You can be an advocate for them. And all of that happens while you're providing jobs. So if you go to madeforfreedom.com, you'll see our best sellers. The first one on the page, you'll see this necklace right here.
Yes.
But you can also get involved in so many other ways. So if you purchase something on madeforfreedom.com, at the end, you'll see, would you also like to contribute to scholarships? And you have options there, and you can donate as much as you'd like. That goes to a very different pot. So I can understand how people are like, oh, it's all going here, it's all going there. No, these are very divided. It's a separate website, it's a separate bank account, it's a separate everything. And the foundation, 90, I don't know exactly, 95% of the money from the
Hmm.
foundation goes directly to scholarships. Like we don't
Wonderful.
pay our board, we don't pay anyone right now. We're going to start paying an admin person just to keep some of the details. But I mean, it runs very lean. And so any money donated to the foundation goes to those scholarships. We also are developing some packages. So, a much larger package for people who want to really take both of those. And so, really do some significant money for the foundation, and a couple pieces of jewelry would come along with that, as well as training materials and education. We have opportunities for anyone who might run a shop or run a boutique and says, I would like to have these products in my
Oh,
store.
very nice.
We have wholesale accounts. So we have wholesale accounts. You can sign up to be a wholesaler. Our, you can choose from Made for Freedom products and have those for your store, for your boutique. We also have opportunities for companies who are like, okay, for our corporate social responsibility, we would like to provide money for these scholarships and provide gifts for our clients, our employees, our customers that are really making this huge impact in the world of human trafficking.
Boy, you've just kind of taken my breath away. Dawn, I just want to comment. I mean, you're a brilliant businesswoman, number one. You're an amazing humanist, number two. And you've put those together in this combination of a business that can help support people who have suffered human trafficking, but then also help educate them. And it's
Mhm.
just an amazing, amazing enterprise you have here. I just want to take my hat off to what you've created and the good that you're doing in the world. It's very, very inspiring. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I so appreciate being here and being able to just share my passion.
Oh, I can feel the passion totally. Yes. So if you want to participate in what Dawn has created here, you can go to madeforfreedom.com and you can buy things there, but you also get to contribute to the educational scholarship. You can also click the partnership button at the top of the homepage on the website and learn about all the ways you can partner with Made for Freedom and the Made for Freedom Foundation. Dawn, it's been so wonderful having you here today. I'm so glad you decided to come on with us to educate people about this important, important topic. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So, boy, I'm so touched by this. Dawn, you just gave a great presentation. I really hope this makes a difference for you and for your business and for so many other people. I
Thank
encourage
you.
everybody to visit madeforfreedom.com. So this has been Jonathan Marks with Go to Health Media. Thanks so much for being here. You can listen to us on podcasts, but if you also wanted to view this show, you can go to YouTube or our website where we've got video of all these interviews. So please subscribe to our channel so you don't miss a beat, and you certainly didn't want to miss this one. This has been Jonathan Marks with Go to Health Media. Thanks for being here. God bless, and thank you for your service, Dawn. It's just amazing.
Thank you.
As we say at the end of every show, remember, go to health. Take care. We'll see you again next time. Bye-bye.
Thank you for tuning in this week to Go to Health Media. Be sure to join Jonathan Marks and another health expert next time. You can also catch the program on your favorite podcast platform. Until our next show, be sure to visit us on the web at gotohealthmedia.com and elevate your life.